this lovely day the Lord has given us. We're blessed, and we're blessed to have special people here to come and share with us today. A few years ago, I went to Watertown, New York, and met with Mr. Chapin or Chapin? Chapin. And I met with him at the Chapin Living Waters ministry, and we've used some of their material, and in fact have some out in container right now shipping to Africa. But we have the executive director now, Doug Carlson, who's here with us, and they have a thing, well, I won't punchline what they're doing, but he's going to share with you some of the things you do, and it's really an interesting thing. One of the great needs there, of course, is water, especially in Africa and other countries as well. Water is a need, and it's hard to come by. And irrigation, you'd love to have irrigation, but you can't use that much water. And so they have a system, drip irrigation, and like in Africa, they don't really have winter and summer. They have wet season and dry season. And when it's wet, it's very, very wet. And when it's dry, it's very, very dry. So drip irrigation is something. So I want you to welcome Doug Carlson as he comes to share. What I do. Welcome, Doug.
Thank you.
Go right ahead.
Thanks.
I'll be out of your way.
Well, thank you, and what a pleasure it is to be here this morning amongst God's people. And I had the pleasure to go through and really see what Teen Missions is doing throughout the world, and it's a real encouragement to us, seeing how God is using different people in different areas to serve Him and to bring light into a dark country, or into dark countries. I'd like to open with a word of prayer. Dear gracious Father, we just thank you so much for this morning and this opportunity to come together as a body in Christ, Lord, for it's all about you. What a privilege and an honor it is to have another day to serve you, Lord. And I just thank you for all that you're doing and all that you've done and all that you're about to do. We give you all the praise this morning and all the glory. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. How many of you are familiar with drip irrigation? Okay, how many of you have used drip irrigation? Okay, great. That'll give me a little idea. Mr. Chapin, he was the first person to invent drip irrigation, and back in the early 60s, I want to backtrack a little bit. When Mr. Chapin was a young man, his father gave him a flower shop, and he just loved growing things. So the thing that he didn't like about growing was watering. He hated watering the plants. So he played around and really prayed earnestly about ways that he could use to water the plants in his in his greenhouse. So he ended up getting a piece of plastic and just folding it over and sewing it together, and that's how drip irrigation first started. And this was God-given to him. He started designing this drip irrigation tape, and he spent a lot of time trying to make the equipment to manufacture the tape. And he spent a lot of time designing and working on it and praying about it. And he ran into obstacles, one obstacle after another, when he was building the equipment, the machinery to make this drip tape. So as he was building it, he'd have successes in building this machine. And then he'd run into a wall, and he'd pray about it. And in the middle of the night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, he'd wake up, and he'd go out in the plant, and he'd make this little adjustment on the equipment, and it worked. And then he'd go back again, and the next day he'd be working on this piece of machinery to make the drip tape. Failure. He'd pray about it. God showed him how to build this equipment, and he owns 25 different patents on the drip irrigation equipment. He was the first person that manufactured it, and he's well known in the industry as the father of drip irrigation. He changed the whole agricultural industry. The drip irrigation saves about 70% on water usage, and or more. In some areas of the country, it saves more. But he saved a lot of industries. He was called to go out to Hawaii. They had Dole had a pineapple field out there, and they were about ready to go bankrupt. They were about ready to close the pineapple industry down in Hawaii. And they asked him if he would come out there and look at and see what they were doing and see if he could help them. And he went out and he looked and he thought, yeah, I can help you. What he did, he saved the whole pineapple industry in Hawaii. By using the drip irrigation, it used much less water. It lowered the labor. They used less labor, and so that was a real blessing to that industry. So when he developed it, it was about the time in the early 60s when polyresins were just becoming popular. And at the same time, there was a man in Israel that was developing drip irrigation also. And that's one reason why Israel, the country of Israel, is so green today, and why they're so successful in harvesting fruits and vegetables. But Mr. Chapin, let me see here. Well, it doesn't seem to be working. I have to excuse me a second. Okay. Well, I have it on my laptop, but I don't have it on the... Okay. I might have to do this by hand. So three and a half years ago today, Mr. Chapin passed away, and my wife and I, we've been friends with the Chapin family for years. And when Mr. Chapin was not feeling well, he was sick, he was in the hospital, I went over to the office, and it was closed. And I thought, well, somebody needs to answer the phone to take the orders. So I went in and answered the phone, started taking orders. I'm still there. So my plans were different from the Lord's plans, and his plan was for me to stay there and oversee the operation of the foundation. So that happened about 3.5 years ago. And his dream with the drip irrigation was not only to fill the stomachs of the hungry people, the starving people, using drip irrigation, but also to fill their hearts with the living waters of Jesus Christ. I may vary from this. I don't think I have more than 3 hours at the most. But if any of you want me to stop, just raise your hand and go like this. Not yet, honey. She knows me. So you can read along here while I'm talking. It'll give you a little idea. Mr. Chapin was invited to go to Senegal. They were having a terrible drought in that country back in the early 70s, and it was a Catholic Charities. They had an orphanage there, and they wrote Mr. Chapin. They said, "We have children that are starving, and we can't feed them. Can you come and set up a drip irrigation garden for us?" So he volunteered to go ahead and do that. So he went over to Senegal. He wrote home and he said, "It's difficult for me to swallow a bite of food when I see mothers boiling grass to feed their children." And so he came back home, and through much prayer, he developed the bucket kit. And it's very simple. It's a 5-gallon container that's mounted 3 feet off the ground, and it's filled twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. And it has 100 feet of drip tape. And you can grow enough vegetables to feed a family of 5 to 7 people. And we have thousands of these kits distributed all over the world. So through this, we have actually 3 kits. We have a super bucket kit, which is 10 square meters. We have a 1/4 acre kit, and we can put any combination of these together. The super bucket kit is a 30-gallon container that's mounted 3 feet off the ground. And then we have 1/4 acre kits, and you can use a 55-gallon container or larger, and that's mounted 8 feet off the ground. And for larger organizations, and you can use any combination. One thing about the Chapin kit is that there are very few working parts. So if a part of it breaks down or is damaged through weeding or whatever, it's very easy to repair. So few working parts. When you're out in the bush, if there's something that breaks down or something that isn't working, it's easy to fix. So you don't have to worry about finding parts to replace it because you can use what you have. We work with over 300 different organizations and individuals. We like to partner with other Christian organizations, but we distribute kits to anyone who needs them. We've worked with the Muslims, and we work with organizations such as GAIN. I don't know if any of you are familiar with GAIN. They're the humanitarian side of Campus Crusade for Christ. And they've gone into Muslim areas to help the Muslim people. And for example, the imams have told them, don't bother those people because they're here to help us. And I know Teen Missions does a lot of work in Muslim countries too, and it's just amazing to see the different organizations and the different people that they're working with throughout the world. But if you name a country, we probably have a bucket kit in there. We have bucket kits in North Korea, China, and other countries all over the world. These are some of the organizations that we've worked with. I put them on 2 slides. I probably could have put them on 4 slides, but this will give you an idea of some of the organizations and groups that we work with. There's one highlighted in green there. I don't know if you recognize them or not, but there's a lot of ingenious ways where drip irrigation is used. And I noticed in one of your pictures here that you were growing a garden somewhere on a rooftop. This is in India, and it's at a school in India, and they didn't have a very large area to grow food, so they decided to start a garden on the roof of their school. And this is the start of it. And this is the fruits of their labor. You can see the 30-gallon container in the background here. And they're growing eggplant. It works. And also in Uganda, there's an organization, Healing Hands International. They're working with the prisoners, actually teaching them a trade to do drip irrigation, composting, mulching, and growing vegetables so that when they get out of prison, they will be able to go home and be able to grow vegetables to feed their family. A lot of these guys, these men are in prison for stealing food and for stealing so that they can purchase food. This is in Cameroon. I know you guys do a lot of work in Cameroon. This is a lady that's a missionary there, and she's had a lot of success with the drip kits there and helping people in Cameroon. This is on a hillside, but they've terraced the hillside, and the drip works very well. In Kenya, in one of the workshops, they not only do they teach how to use drip irrigation, but they teach the A to Z of growing and composting. What they do on the raised beds, they'll open them up and they'll put banana leaves in, a green manure, or any type of animal manure that they can find, wet it down, close it up, and that's what they use for irrigation. Also, another method is making a manure tea or a green tea, and that's where they take a 55-gallon container, they wrap manure in a burlap sack, and they steep it in the water. And then they take that water and use it as liquid fertilizer and run it through the drip irrigation. It's exciting to see young kids working with adults. They're so excited and so thrilled to see the little drop of water come out of the drip tape, one drop at a time, very slowly. And they're always eager to work. When we were in Malawi, we put on a workshop, and we wanted to start at 8 o'clock every morning. And none of the ladies showed up until 9 o'clock, 9:30 in the morning, and us being Americans, we're kind of anxious to get going, you know. And the ladies, we'd hear them coming down the road singing, and they'd come in, they'd be all excited and all ready to sit down for the lesson plan in growing vegetables, and they'd lay their mats on the floor, and they were all ready to go to work to listen to instructions. So we'd teach in the morning, and then we'd actually go out and work in the field in the afternoon. But what we found out later on was that in the morning when they wake up, they start a fire so they can get warm. And then when the fire goes out, when the coals cool down, then they'll come to our workshop. And so that was a lesson learned. So what they do, the first thing they do, they take and lay out the drip tape, and every 12 inches there's a little slit in the drip tape where the water comes out. And we use every 12 inches. They manufacture the drip tape in 4, 8, 12, 18, and 24 inch intervals. So what they do, if you're growing like a squash crop and you plant every 24 inches, we'll plant something else in between them, or else we'll put a piece of tape over the every other emitter. And here you can see the wet spots. So after the drip tape is laid out, they pour water through the tape. Wherever there's a wet spot, that's where they put the the seedling or the seed in the ground. This is Dr. Crosby. He's showing how to fertilize. He's opened up a raised bed to use banana leaves. We recommend using raised beds because sometimes there's salts in the soil, and the drip goes directly to the roots of the plant, and it washes the salts away from the roots. So it creates a healthier plant and a higher yielding plant. And that's another advantage that drip irrigation has over hand watering or other types of watering, furrow irrigation. These are some kids working in Malawi. And a lot of times, rather than using a quarter-acre kit, they'll put a bunch of 50-foot lengths of bucket kits, or they'll put a bunch of 100-foot kits together, and it's still easier for them to fill a bucket, 5-gallon container twice a day than hand watering the whole field and carrying water. Some of them have to carry water quite a distance. Here they're preparing a garden oh no. This is where we just came from, so we're happy to be down here. In Kenya, the important thing is to get the container 3 feet off the ground, and here you'll notice that they have some tires that they use to set up their drip irrigation. And they come up with some pretty ingenious ways of planting gardens. As most of you probably know, they have to carry water quite some distance, a mile or two, and it's almost an all-day job for women to do this, and men. Primarily women. We also work in cold areas. This is in Kosovo, where they have a kind of a greenhouse set up to grow tomato plants. And a couple of young girls that are enjoying the harvest. We also do a lot of community work. This organization here is a church group down in Texas, and every year they buy enough bulk material to assemble 100 drip irrigation kits. So there's actually 3 churches that come together and as a community project, and they assemble 100 kits, and then they donate them back to Chapin Living Waters or to organizations that are going out in the field. So the bucket kits, the drip tape is a 15 mil tape. It's a heavy duty tape. It has a life expectancy of 5 to 7 years. So I spoke with the fellow this last summer, and he's on his 9th year using the drip tape. And so it depends upon how well it's taken care of, the clarity of the water. We used to supply the 5-gallon buckets with the kits, but we found that it's much less expensive to purchase the containers of the buckets in the developing country where the kits are being installed, rather than paying for the transportation costs to get them over there. So bucket kits promote self-sufficiency. Not only do they learn to grow vegetables, a lot of organizations that we partner with, they teach how to harvest the seeds and reuse them year after year, and so that they can be self-sustaining. So it allows low-income people equitable access to resources. It's ideal for areas dependent on subsistence farming. It cuts hunger and reduces malnutrition. And it gives the ability to produce during the dry and drought periods. It reduces chronic food insecurity. So with the drip irrigation, you can grow crops up to 3.5 crops a year. You can grow crops during the dry and wet season both. Improves diets. Bucket kit programs have minimum requirements. They're not dependent on infrastructure investments. And you don't need dams or electricity or running water to use them. Bucket kit programs maximize natural resources. Drip irrigation greatly reduces water requirements. Training programs teach composting and the use of natural fertilizers. Animated videos and download apps are available for training on installation of bucket kits. We work with an organization, they're in Michigan, it's called SABO, Scientific Animations Without Borders, and they made an animated video on how to install a drip bucket kit. So it's an app that you can download on your laptop or your cell phone and use that as a training tool. They also have other videos, health videos in up to 49 different languages. Right now, the drip irrigation is in 8 different languages. And like I said, you can download it on your app and use that as a great training tool. I'd like to tell you a little story. There's a man, Dr. Terry Hall, he lives down in the Oklahoma City area, and he, for the last 15 years, he's been traveling to Swaziland and treating people with AIDS and tuberculosis. And he accidentally ran upon our website, and now he's incorporating our drip irrigation in what he's doing in Swaziland. Swaziland is the one country in Africa that has the highest rate of AIDS per capita of any country in Africa. And he feels like if every family can have a bucket kit and be able to grow their own vegetables in their own yard, it'll be a big boon into eliminating the AIDS epidemic in that country. What's happening is that the parents, they don't have money to put food on their table. So what they do, they send their children out in the street to do sex trafficking. And they don't want to do this. So Mr. Hall, or Dr. Hall, he thought that it would be a great opportunity to place these kits in all the homes in the area. He's working with the Nazarene University, and they have an ag program. So what they're doing, they're bringing all the pastors in from all over the country and training them how to use the drip irrigation and how to grow their own food. So they're going out and they're putting a small garden in their own homes so that they can also have a better income. The average income for a pastor in Swaziland is $5 a month. So this will help them, but also he can train his church members on growing and using the bucket kits for themselves, and they can also use it as an outreach ministry. So we just started this program last year, and Dr. Hall thinks that it will take a generation to break this AIDS epidemic in the country of Swaziland. So bucket kits enhance other development, agriculture and health initiatives, water initiatives. When a well is built, a bucket can increase garden productivity. Health initiatives, bucket kit garden programs promote vegetable production throughout the year is an important part of nutrition programs. And one of my favorite verses is, if you spend yourselves on behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in the darkness, and your night will become like noonday. And that's out of Isaiah 58:10. Before I go, I just kind of wanted to beat my wife before she started raising her hands. And if any of you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Take a couple minutes to answer any questions that anyone might have. Yes?
So like when a community or like people, when the tape does wear out after like 5 or 7 years, how do they get more?
That's the big problem that we have. We try and work with organizations where we can develop a pipeline. Mr. Chapin's dream was to be able to put a distribution center in each country where people would have access to drip kits. And we haven't been able to find anyone to do that at this point because to find people that are financially responsible and accountable. We just started working with one organization down in Texas. They have a training farm in Togo. And what they do, they raise pineapple. And with the pineapple that they raise, they crush the pineapple, they make a pineapple juice, and they distribute it to the 3 countries around Togo as well as in Togo. So that would be an excellent point of distribution for us. So we're looking to start there. We also have a place in Haiti, but it's on one end of Haiti and it's difficult for people to get to. So we're looking for a more centralized point in the Port-au-Prince area, and we're working on that. So we're always looking for someone to start a distribution center, but we want to start it slow. We want to get one started and going and finding out what the pitfalls are and the good things that are coming from it. So that's what we're in the process of doing right now. Yes?
Do you have any for fruit trees? Or?
We don't. What we do with the fruit trees, because of this design that we use, again, you can use it if you plant the fruit trees, 3-4 feet apart or farther? Farther, okay.
Like orange, mangoes?
Yeah, I would like to say, yeah, we have a solution for that. We do through Jane Irrigation. Mr. Chapin sold the company to Jane a number of years back. And they're an Indian company, and they purchased Mr. Chapin's business because as a supplement or a complement to what they do. They're the largest distributor of irrigation equipment in the world. And they have all types of irrigation and for something that you can use for trees. So we really can't help you there like we would like. We're more focused on helping the small subsistence farmer growing fruits and vegetables at this time. Any other questions? Yes?
Do you partner with any ministries that go in and drill wells?
They go in and what?
Drill wells in the remote communities?
We do. Water for Cameroon is a good example. They're located in Dublin, Ireland, and we work closely with them. What they did, we gave them some bucket kits, and they went into the country and they distributed them. And the owner said, "I'm giving you these kits, but if you don't use them, I'm going to take them back." And he went back 6 months later, and one of the men wasn't using his kit. And he said, "Give me the kit, I want it back." And he said, "But you gave it to me." He said, "I gave it to you on the condition that you would use it." So he took the kit back, and boy, did word fly like wildfire. So now he has a store in the area that he's working in, and he's selling the kits. So the people are just now starting after a couple of years to come in and purchase the bucket kits, so they have ownership. So he seems to be doing everything right now. So again, we encourage having people have some kind of equity in the kit that they're purchasing, so they have some ownership. So if it doesn't work, they'll try and figure out why it isn't working. and make it work. And that's because of the ownership that they have. If by chance it doesn't work, then they won't use it. So we've had many successes, but we've also had some failures. Any other questions? Now, not only do we do work in all the developing countries, but we also do a lot of work here in the United States. We set up a community garden behind our office, and it's about 50 by 60 feet. And we got volunteers from our local urban mission, from the Cornell Cooperative Extension, which is the agricultural-based side of Cornell. And we had like 6 or 8 master gardeners come in and help us set up the garden. Urban Mission, they have what they call a bridge program for people that are recovering from addictions. So they're coming in and working in the garden. So we have a real blend of people in the community that are coming in and working in our garden. But what we did at the end of the season, we ended up harvesting over 1,000 pounds of vegetables that we donated to the local food pantry. So what an opportunity that was to bring people together, to show them the love of Christ. So that's a very important thing. We also have community gardens. We work with the United Way in Tennessee, and they have 4 quarter-acre kits that are located in strategic position areas in their county that where people that can't afford vegetables can go to themselves and harvest the vegetables in the garden. So we're looking to really expand in this area too. Any other questions? Thank you very much for having me come this morning. You guys are a real blessing and an encouragement. Probably, if you want to help us, you can help us by praying for Chapin Living Waters. We know when people are praying for us. So we thank you for that. Thanks. One more thing. I have 10 of these kits in the back. If you'd like a kit, make sure you grab one because I don't want to have to carry them back with me.
Thank you, Doug. We appreciate what you're doing, and that is a work that is needed around the world. And thank the Lord for that and for the vision that they have in doing that. And we have some going now in the container to Malawi. I think it's going, yeah. And we've used them. They are a blessing. So, and we want to do some more because we see this as going out and where we have AIDS orphans, where they have nothing, and boy, to help them and do a garden. The other thing that is really needed that we see is for widows. Now, the scripture says, that pure religion and undefiled is this, to care for the widows and the orphans. There's a lot of focus on orphans, not so much focus on widows. But what's happening in Africa is because so many people have AIDS, and the children die of AIDS. And then they have grandchildren, and so the grandparents end up with the children and no income and no food. And so there's a real need for widows to be able to have food. And a drip irrigation garden would just be tremendous. And I'd like to see us go plant some more of them, actually set them up for them, and we could do that. So it's a great thing and an encouraging thing to be able to help widows, and sustain their children or grandchildren that have nothing to eat.